Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Because he's not prepared. He needs to get someone draw the plans up for him.
What are we talking
That
about?
may
I'm
take-
sorry. The East
Mr.
Ave?
Professional.
Okay.
61 East Ave.
So what would you recommend we do again?
I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be ready.
No, we should withdraw it and let him reapply, because at 60, at our next meeting, we'll have to deny him
I see.
if he's not ready.
Yeah.
You understand? This just gives him a chance to get ready.
So does he still have to pay an additional fee?
No, he's paid the fee, so
No,
I think we need.
So, all right, rather than table that, can I have a motion to withdraw item number 4?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll sign
For a
it.
second, any further
Whatever
discussion?
the case is.
Okay. All those in favor of withdrawing item number 4, 61 East Ave, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carried. 60 Madison Street, Marinas, driveway. Is anyone here to speak on that? All right, so what they want, so nobody's here to talk about it. It looks like, I had this printed out too.
I could.
Yeah, Bob, can you speak on
Kind of
that?
fill you
I
in.
see your notes about it, but maybe you can tell us more detail.
They came to the ZBA meeting last week, and the variances were approved. Normally, they would come
Other way
here
around.
first.
Right.
But I didn't realize it was rental property. I thought it was owner occupied. It is a 2-unit, and they do not live there, so they need a site plan review as well. The property was using the space next door, the parking area next door. The property changed hands, and they can no longer use that parking area.
Okay.
So the lot has no parking at all.
Really?
So they have agreed to, they've got 6 feet of asphalt on the west side of their building. They're going to return that to grass, and they would like to put a driveway on the east side. So they needed a variance for the 4-foot vegetative strip on the east side and a lot coverage for that lot. It's a small lot.
Do they have any space on the east side?
Yes, they do, approximately 20 feet.
Oh, okay, so their neighbor put in a driveway then, that's on their property.
12 feet from the porch. So it was
Yeah.
20 feet from the
There's,
thing. So
there's a driveway there.
there's a driveway, but it doesn't encroach on the property. It's very close. So these driveways will be right next to each other. And I believe the existing driveway the neighbor has is a gravel driveway. So that's where we are. The ZBA approved that variance if they replant the 6 feet on the west side, and it would be agreed that the driveway would be 1 foot from the existing porch, so it wouldn't be too close to the structure.
And what about the vegetative strip on that side?
There'll be no.
And they were granted that? They were granted that? a
Yes,
variance
they
for
were
that?
granted that. So it was lot coverage and vegetative
Okay.
strip.
I have a question. You have here grandfathered 2-family
And an R1, yes.
non-conforming use, and you have grandfathered. For something to be grandfathered, it has to be an approved use at the time of whatever version of our zoning went into effect. This obviously is a 2-family in a R1 district. Did they produce, or have they produced anything that had given them permission to do that?
It has been occupied.
Well, that's not what I'm asking.
I don't know how far back it goes. That usually doesn't come up unless a property has been vacant or there's some question about the use, but I don't know how long that history goes back. It was built as a duplex, as a 2-unit. And
It was built as that.
it appears to be from the outside. Jim, you're in like a duplex.
That's why you know the
Yeah.
driveway.
Yeah, it's 5 doors down for me.
Big driveway.
So what they're looking for from us then is a site plan review, even though the variances haven't been approved?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
And it would be a paved driveway?
It doesn't have to be paved. Be
Something here doesn't.
gravel. They've sold the property and they.
Just here and look at this.
Yes, sir.
So something of, just 2 and 2 do not make 3.5 here.
This is 60 Madison, that's what we're talking
Yes.
about, right?
This is the land they're gonna return to green.
So you're
They
saying
own
they
6
really
feet
only
here.
have 6 feet here,
Yes,
and they're gonna cut that out.
but they were parking cars
Oh,
along
of
here for
course.
their 2 units, and one door was on this side and the other door was on that side.
Okay,
That's
and
why I
Mark
say-
sold his business here to Dave McNeil.
Right,
Now Dave wants his property used for him.
Right.
Basically, what you should.
yeah, there's no easement
Yeah.
in the deed or anything.
Okay.
where they
So
use.
the parking for this is only going to be on this side, this driveway is for
Right.
this, here, this driveway here.
It'll be an additional driveway right
They
beside that.
want to
Are you
pave
familiar
this
with the
and put
property?
it on that
Yes,
side.
sir.
And Bob, you're saying
They
that
park
the
here.
distance from that
And their
driveway
neighbor, like,
to their
there,
porch.
It was 12
put
feet
in a
from this
driveway,
step to
and
the
like that house
property.
is now like abandoned.
12 feet.
From what I can tell.
The minimum width of the driveway is 8
That's
feet.
why I was hoping they pave it at least.
So,
And so that's the driveway.
yes, sir.
What about parking?
Well, that's where their parking will be. There won't be sufficient parking, but it's a grandfathered property.
Definitely that
Well, see,
neighbor.
that's why we need a site plan review, because if they're
Fix some of the
proposing
yard.
to do something
But nobody's
that
living in
is
that house now. It's
actually
been vacant
going to be
for
a
a couple of
problem,
years.
they're not planning far enough ahead. If you're saying they do not have adequate parking with that driveway. I mean, I don't, maybe you don't
Yeah,
know.
Historically, that property has had 0 parking, unless you count 6 feet of asphalt, which is.
Well,
doesn't
no, people,
constitute parking.
I think people were out, were using the whole side of the house for parking.
Yeah.
So now you're
They were
saying-
parking,
Diagonally.
adjacently to
Yeah.
in the neighboring property.
Right, okay. So now, the owner is assuming that they will have enough parking in the driveway. Has he stated how long that driveway is?
40 feet. They want to make it a 40-foot driveway.
Okay,
So
they
you
can't
can
park
get-
in front of the house.
You can get a couple cars, you cannot get 4 vehicles there, so it will not have sufficient parking,
So why would we approve something that we already know won't be sufficient?
So you'll have a house there with 0
With no
parking.
parking.
It has no parking at all.
It would be interesting to see the driveway drawn on the lot plan, because either the neighbor has, built his driveway on their land, or there's no way that's long 12 feet.
Well, I'm just looking at it, and I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, 'cause
Did you actually measure that, Bob?
Yeah, I went down and measured
This
this.
is, Bob, you said that this does not need to be paved.
I'm sorry?
Why would it not need to be paved in addition to all of these other properties?
Single-family, open-hole rental,
So the neighbor-
they have to pay it.
the neighbor had
Well,
to-
the code says.
It's in an R1.
so the neighbor had
Yeah.
to put their driveway on their.
And it's a new driveway. I thought everything had to be paved. I'm trying to figure out how zoning.
Well, they're not. Clearly, they're not gonna have the parking.
Okay.
Well, first of all, if they built a 2-family in an R1 district, so they're,
This looks like an old, single-family
house.
it does to me.
Okay.
Does to me too. Now,
Doesn't want it to become the
Right.
I understand they need to create parking, they need a driveway, actually, is what they need.
Yeah.
But, so I guess, why wouldn't it be paved? They want 2-family,
Okay,
consideration, but then they want single-family consideration for the driveway.
Okay,
They can't have it both ways.
All right. Stipulated must be paved, then they have to pay it.
But then I have the issue
Right.
with it's obviously not adequate.
Okay? There is no solution then. There's no room, without a variance for that strip and the lot coverage. The lot coverage goes to 65% and the limit is 60%. That's my calculations.
I mean,
So-
we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, 'cause no matter what we do, it's not gonna be the right thing, you know what I mean? Like, if we approve it, we approve something that's really should have been approved, but if we don't approve it, it's gonna leave the homeowner, or, you know, whoever owns the property stuck.
Right. You've approved
But they did, I mean-
projects that needed variances before.
If it's never had a driveway, then it didn't have a driveway when they purchased it.
Yeah.
So you bought a property knowing you didn't have a driveway, because you were gonna use the neighbor's property,
Right.
basically.
But I also think what Jim is getting to is, and we run into this all the time, that it's a two-family house, but we have no idea how long it's been a two-family house. Has it been since last year, or 10 years, or has it been 30 years?
At least
We don't
30.
really have,
Is there,
Cause, yeah, 35 years, cause I've lived.
okay.
It's not a new house.
No.
It was built in 1920,
But
but.
there's a lot of renovation going on that nobody knows about.
Right.
Okay? And that's what I think Chris is kind of looking at too.
I don't know what's,
Yeah, 139,000.
It was just bought, right, it was just last month, it changed hands, is that correct?
I believe it's, maybe under contract, but,
Or it's about to be sold?
yeah.
Okay,
That's my understanding.
now I'm starting to get the picture.
And they can't sell it
They
as
cannot
is.
sell, but that was not mentioned.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
He did?
He said they're getting ready to sell
They're
it.
trying to sell it.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I thought the new owners were, trying to get it switched.
So they're putting the onus on us so that they can sell their home.
Yes, sir.
which is not their home, it's their rental property.
Which is not their
It's
home.
rental property.
The rental
correct.
property. It is their property, but it is not their home.
It's somebody's home
Ah,
who's
so
wanted
you
to
cleaned
purchase
it up.
it.
Didn't make it. Because when it changes hands, it isn't grandfathered anymore, right?
No, it is.
Oh, it is?
That goes with the property.
Oh, okay.
As long as it's occupied.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't go vacant or become conforming. If they converted it to a single family, they wouldn't have the option to go back to a two-family.
But there's nothing to grandfather.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
There's no current condition that's being grandfathered.
Lack of driveway.
Yeah.
yeah, because it was approved without a driveway before, so.
Well, yes, land.
So they're trying to mitigate it. Is there a holdup on the sale because of this?
I think so.
By the,
You think?
legally, or by the,
Well, if I was a buyer, I'd
The
maybe
buyer.
get it.
Yeah, I think the buyer wants a
by putting
driveway.
in a stipulation.
Yeah.
All right, so if there are 3 cars, you're going to deal with stacked parking, first of all.
That's right.
And no visitor parking unless it's on the street, okay?
They park on the street.
But
Yeah.
the stacked cars will be, at least one will be in front of the property, which you're not supposed to be.
How about the rental permit thing?
Yeah, is that active? Do they have it?
They
Yes.
just got a rental permit for the property,
Just being,
within the last month. And we told them, it was last week.
The first one.
Yeah.
It's been a
and it's
couple
in an
weeks.
R1,
It's in an R1.
so
but-
did they get a special permit for a rental at the same time?
No. They did not.
We have a gentleman here tonight who would like to be considered for that exact situation. And he was held off a month ago because of that and other things, but that was one of the things. There you have it. I don't know what to say, but as far as I'm concerned, what's written in our documents is what I go by. All right? In my estimation, that keeps us out of court. All right? And technically, according to in an R1 district, you must have, whether it was a year ago, 2 years ago, or 10 years ago, you must now apply for a special permit for a rental. Okay? And I don't care how many haven't done it. That's not my job. Okay? But my job is to enforce or carry out, I should say, the documents that we've been sworn to carry out. And that is part of it. Okay? Not to throw another wrench into it, because obviously we're in a dramatic quandary over the driveway. They previously bought the property without a driveway, assuming they could use the neighbor's property. And I don't know how many owners ahead of that, Jim, may have, I don't know how many times it's changed hands over the years. But we have what's good for one is good for all. That's the way I see it, and that's the way we keep our noses clean. Until that changes, which it hasn't. That's how I see it. You know, and for that reason alone, regardless of the reservations, I could not vote to approve this.
And the reason is because it's never had a driveway?
No, it does not have a special permit
Okay.
to operate as a
Understand.
rental in an
Yes.
R1 district. Now, that's my opinion. I'm one guy, okay?
Well, yeah, I think you know more about the status of this R1 special use permit than I do. I haven't heard anything for a year about its enforceability or if we go ahead with it, so.
That's not, there is no going ahead with it. It's already a local law.
But it hasn't been acted on since it was voted in November of 2018.
That's not our.
Okay, what's that got to do
We
with it?
went over this last month though, that's not our
I
decision.
understand.
We can't decide which laws the city is going to pass.
I'm just
and not.
saying, I don't know.
They should either change the law, or in my opinion, either start enforcing the law or change it.
I agree.
These are legal questions and executive legislative questions. They have nothing to do with us. It's frustrating to me that we keep being put in this position where we have legal questions and we don't get answers.
We have to go by what's written.
Okay.
I mean, it's
There's
written
the
that
answer.
way, whether you like it or not, that's what it says. Okay. If it's gonna be different, I agree with Craig. If they're gonna change it or make or modify or whatever they're gonna do, then do it.
Somebody's telling you it's not enforceable.
Then why is it still there?
Why is it still a law then? Why is it still on the books?
There are a lot of things in the books, in my code, that I really can't enforce.
That doesn't change our position. That's not us.
Okay, I understand that. But if that's, all the property, all the rental property in the city that's in an R1 district needs this process.
Yes, they do.
Okay,
And that was the understanding when it went into effect. And the purpose being that, and I've got 3 editions of our zoning, and every one of them say the purpose of an R1 district is to establish developing, stable, family neighborhoods. Single-family neighborhoods. For 40, 50 years, I didn't go back any further, but the language is almost mirrors the same in each one. And the only way to do that is, if you're not a traditional family, then you need to be able to control the rental so that they are rented toward traditional families, which I believe the people who wrote those 50 years of documents meant when they said stable, single-family development.
okay. When this law that we're talking about for R1 rental properties was voted
It's
in.
just R1. It's the only district the state allows you to do that.
Properties. The ZBA at the time was approving special use permits before we got the new code. The ZBA refused to hear the cases until criteria for this use, these permits were established. And in the code, when it was voted in, it was text that said that common council would vote and establish criteria, and it gave a time period, like in 60 days. It never did, it's never happened.
But that's
and
still
I
not
think that's
our-
where we're,
That's still not our
I
responsibility.
understand, but it's written in the code book you're talking about that it would take place. The ZBA refused to do it, but if this body does, that's fine. We just,
Well, we're now approving special permits. I mean, before
Yes.
it wasn't, you know?
so if you want to go ahead without special criteria,
The only criteria right now, I mean, there is criteria for special permit in general.
just general.
Okay, just
And
general.
I think it could.
But there are also 14 other criteria for different kinds of special permits, okay? So this one needs more criteria. But I'm just looking at it based on the purpose of an R1 district. And it's uniform through all the zoning for 50 years, okay? Until there's more criteria, that's what I have to go on, okay?
No, because it already has
I'm just saying, I can only go with what's written, okay? One is that the law is there, and the other is,
Aside from all that, there's still the question of whether we approve it.
This isn't the scale.
Whether it be-
It's not printed in scale, so.
We don't have any drawings for it, do we?
Jim's got one in his hand.
But it's not the scale.
And this is the,
as usual.
Yeah, I looked it up on
Your bag's gonna fall.
I did go to the property and take measurements, but I don't have those with me.
Well, it says that it's a left from the corner of the porch to the
Was about
line is
12
11 feet 7, so yeah, about 12 feet.
there was ever a curve.
And so they would put the driveway at 4.
I have no idea how.
Yeah,
accurate
yeah.
Google is, but it's very interesting.
No, not now.
Fully shows the house.
There's also an issue, all right, you've got basically two driveways side by side.
Yeah.
Where does the snow go? And you've got 1 foot between the driveway and the house. What I mean is, these are site plan questions, you know?
I don't know where to get. Is the house on the,
Is there anybody, have you
is there a
contacted the
survey,
people
they
in
have
the
a
house?
survey map?
To the,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm looking at it, I had some.
to the house on the right?
The house on the right is abandoned.
Oh,
Nobody is living
so
there.
nobody
currently.
objects to that?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. They can put it on there
Okay, there's the wood there.
Well, your decision
Google
is
Maps shows the
consistent
property
with
line
last-
going through
last
the
month's.
house.
So,
Through the house, really?
Yeah.
Which is
Interesting.
I don't know where they get all their information, but it's usually pretty accurate.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, well, maybe it goes in one.
The house is actually on somebody else's property.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm part of it. And look,
But does that, I don't see a line on the survey map that reflects that, do you?
No. So it looks like the
Apparently
neighbor
they're
already
supposed to be
put
6
the
feet.
driveway
One
on
property
the other
is-
property.
To the left?
No, they're
To the
not.
left.
Yeah. These people just moved out like 3
the
years
map,
ago.
the zoning, the survey map is wrong, shows almost 12 feet between the corner of the
they
porch
were
and the
the
property.
property owners.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, they're bad.
there's room.
And, must be, I think, people who live in the apartment parking there now.
Well, then again, you can't make an approval assuming they're gonna park on the other guy's property, because they're
No.
gonna either.
Because sooner or later, that property's gotta go up for sale.
Right.
It seems like.
And anything we do now will come under question at that time.
Yep. And that is a single family home.
Technically, they
How
have
about we
more
table
rights.
this?
So if that's a law, what's the recourse? I'd like to know. I mean, I'm not so familiar with all of the laws, the 2018
Agree,
laws.
Chris.
They can apply for the R1 rental special use permit, and return next month.
And we're still, then we're just confronted with everything we've been talking about.
That's right.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable if we did that. Can we just table this till next month and have them come back with more information? I mean, I don't want to turn it down, but I also don't want to approve it, just like Tim said, with all these problems with the site.
What about asking, Corporation Council to clarify what the city wants us to do in this situation? Because I agree, that's what it says, but nobody is willing to enforce it, including, you know, if council's not willing to change it, we need to figure out how we go forward.
Yeah.
In any event, until it's changed, we have to operate according to the law.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so can I have a motion to table item number 560 Madison Street until we get further information?
So moved.
All right, I'll sign it. Second, Chris. Any other further discussion? All right, all those in favor of tabling item number 5, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so that'll be tabled until next month. Now, we had another item under old business. Mr. Pace, you're here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you wanna come up again? We did the last one.
No, the first three are one over there, so I can win on camera. Get a good shot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, they speak right there.
I know.
No, me.
Marathon last night.
Anywhere.
I just thought me come up and talk.
No.
Makes my life easier.
I think we tabled this, didn't we?
No, you approved it contingent on.
So, basically, why don't you tell us what you want to do, because I don't think you were here last one.
Yeah, you want to talk loud.
You refreshed my memory anyway, because I can't.
I was interested in adding, driveway, which is roughly 9 feet wide, 43 feet long to parking for 2 cars.
So in your minutes from last month, you
Yeah, I
guys
got
did
it.
approve it contingent on getting this special use. There's gonna be crushing, running, running light.
We tabled it.
We tabled, we didn't approve it.
Pending 2 questions.
Just make sure I can hear you.
Devin, my notes don't have us approving it. We have us
My note
tabling
says
it.
that you approved it.
Item 144, Clayton Ave, the property will not require variance as a single.
Right, but then he came in at the end of the meeting and you revisited the situation and approved it.
I don't remember
I
whether we.
Keep reading.
I have no recollection of that. And no way
Mr.
did you
Pace
issue
came
here.
late to the meeting,
Uh-huh.
so you
I do remember
revisited it
that.
at the
Yeah, I remember
end.
him coming in late, but I don't remember.
And you approved it. Right, here's my notes. Scribble, scribble.
Contingent
Approved.
on this special use.
Contingent on the special use,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
We had a very similar conversation last time. Well, just.
And I called Rick, and Rick said he needs a special use.
That's
We
right.
got legal counsel, this is what he said to do, this is what he's here doing it.
I remember the call.
Mhm.
I did
So
forget
if we've
everything.
already approved it,
Right,
we,
main call to.
so we don't have anything to act on, do we?
No, you just need to approve the special use now, or deny.
Right, now we've got very special
Oh,
use.
special, oh, fine.
Yeah.
So now that goes to the ZBA after we.
Oh, this is it.
Okay, I have a question, Mark. The existing driveway that is there, I don't have anything to scale that. That appears to be roughly the length of the house right now. The depth of the house, I should say.
Yeah, it's probably, lengthwise, I can give you a better estimate.
Have you measured it, or?
Yes, at one point, 43, 53. I think the original, the driveway is, I would say, 58 to 60 feet.
Okay, and this is an R1 district, correct?
Yes.
Obviously, this is a rental house. Or maybe that's not obvious, but it is, correct? my question is, what is the need for the wider driveway?
You guys already approved the driveway, this is just for the special use permit.
Okay. But this is, I'm leading to a question. This is an R1 district. It's either a traditional family or 3 unrelated, I guess, adults. I don't know exactly how that is worded. So I guess my question is, why do you need room for more than 3 cars? And that is a question related to the special use permit. Because as you sat there and heard, as we discussed previously, an R1 district is for stable, single-family housing. So, obviously, we approved a bigger driveway, but I guess my question is, if this is stable, single-family housing, you're welcome to have a greater driveway, but the use now comes into play in terms of granting the special permit. And that is allowable in R1 districts. And I'm assuming that this is not being rented to a traditional family.
Could be an equivalent to.
I'm aware of that, but I'm saying it's not being rented to a traditional family.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Anybody else has any questions? Go ahead. I'm done.
So tonight, he's just looking to get the special use permit for the driveway? We already approved the driveway.
No, just for the property.
For
Have
the
a
property.
rental in an R1.
Oh, for rental in an R1 district.
That's what the special use is for. Correct?
All right, anybody else want to weigh in on this one? All right, seeing no further discussion, can I have a motion to either approve or not the special use for, see, 44 plate? 44 plate now?
We already approved the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so,
I'll make
Yeah,
a
this
motion
is-
to approve the special use.
I've got a motion, or, yeah, a motion to approve the special use for 44 plate now, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the special use permit for 44 Clayton Ave, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Opposed?
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our August, check that, September meeting. Anybody have a chance to look at those minutes?
Thank you.
Yep. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? All right, can I have a motion to approve the September 2021 Planning Commission minutes that were submitted? Chris, second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Minutes carried. All right, so our next meeting will be in November. I don't know the exact date.
And next meeting is November 22nd.
22nd in November.
Any
It's
of the-
before Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's Monday before Thanksgiving.
Unrelated.
All right, we get a motion to adjourn.
No, Mark.
Motion to adjourn. Chris is on top of that one. Second.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Okay,
opposed?
please.
Meeting adjourned.
Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.